You don't know me, but I know you. I want to play a game.
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Duff.
And this week, we are asking the question that I don't think is ever even asked in this movie. And that is, do you want to play a game? A little game. A little game. Would you like to play a game? I don't know. How does he do his voice?
I think a really low deep one was
okay.
pretty close.
Keep trying. Yeah. No, can you do it in a transatlantic accent?
Okay, hold on. Would you like to play a game? That's not...
Why did I become a girl? Only girl transatlantic accent.
And he's British. He's British.
I can't do a deep man transatlantic voice. That's too
I don't know how to do a man transatlantic accent either.
Scooby-Doo transatlantic at the end of last week, and it was like, it's just too many elements. I can't put them together like that.
But I'm not that advanced. Continue, sorry.
If you haven't figured out what absolute bullshit we're on this week, it's a movie that my father took me and a group of like barely
vulnerable 13-year-olds.
We were 13, 14, to go see in theaters because, you know, if you were below a certain age, you had to have a parent present. So my father, being the most responsible parent of the group, took us to go see Saw 2004 in theaters. And I texted him today when I was rewatching this, and I was just like, I can't believe that you took me and my friends to go see this in theaters for my 14th birthday. And he just sent not even an emoji smiley, but like the two dots. No,
colon
the line.
and a parentheses.
Oh, he did the nose.
He did the nose. So you know
that's a throwback.
That's mischievous. That's more
Know,
mischievous.
he's like, I regret none of my parenting choices. I'm just putting that.
None of them.
He regrets absolutely none of them.
Not one.
Okay. I've heard about some on this podcast that I would imagine if I had made choices, I would maybe regret them, but
not Mark.
You know what? I love that attitude. You can only move forward. Why look back?
Why are we living in the past? We're not doing that.
Fair enough, actually. Is he an
turned out
inspirational
relatively
icon?
fine.
You have a podcast. Clearly, you're well adjusted.
Yeah, come on. That's the telltale sign that we're doing fine.
Look at us.
Is it not?
We're
Is it not?
Honestly, we are the epitome of thriving. 30, flirty, and thriving right here on this podcast.
Couldn't agree more.
But if your parents didn't take you to see this at an incredibly pivotal age, Saw is about two strangers awaken in a room with no recollection of how they got there and soon discover they're pawns in a deadly game. Oh, this is a big word. Perpetrated by a notorious serial killer. I had to sound it out in my head.
Sound it out.
Break it down.
And it's a good little synopsis anyway. That's a good one. So I've never seen this movie before until earlier today. I watched it at 9:30 a.m., which is an appropriate time to watch Saw. In case you wanted to know, it's actually a lovely time to do it. It really was. I had a great time. Because I was so blown away by what this movie actually was in comparison to what I thought it was. Because my whole childhood as a little weenie bitch, I will own that. I was a weenie little bitch as a child.
Weenie Hut Junior.
Fully in the Weenie Hut Junior Club. They never would have let me into the Salty Spittoon. I was terrified of the concept of this movie. And you've heard me on the pod say for years, I'm not into that torture porn stuff. I don't want to watch Saw, blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to eat my words today because I had a lovely time. It's not nearly as fucked up as I thought it was going to be. And it was kind of like, just like torture Final Destination in a way. Like that's how I feel. I feel like I could have gotten into it at a younger age. I'm sad I missed it.
So Saw is a little bit like Twilight, where the first movie actually started out as like a low budget indie movie that blew the fuck up.
Yeah. I mean, I think that is part of what's super interesting about this movie is like I don't think it's James Wan's first movie ever, but like him and Lee Winnell were working on it together. They met in film school and became friends because they both liked horror. And they really were being like, how do we make a movie that we could afford to make? I guess maybe we set it in only one room, and they made like a short based on that concept with just the reverse bear trap scenes. And then based on that short, they got funding to make it as a movie, but again, not that much. They were still like very much newcomers to this, and so they were just working with what they had, and I'll talk about that more later and the way it came out in the budget. But it's interesting. I had the same kind of experience as Monica, as I always wrote it off as like torture porn or torture porn adjacent. Like in my mind, it very much is in the same category as Hostel, which I also haven't seen, admittedly, so that could be totally
I've
way
seen
off
part
base.
of Hostel, and Hostel is way more fucked up than this, just from the parts that I've seen.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I mean, I was surprised watching it, how much more palatable it is than what I expected from the concept itself. Like, you put a man covered in flammable stuff in a room of glass shards, and he has a little candle, and he's got to walk around on all the shards trying not to light himself on fire. I thought we would get like a million shots of like bloody broken bits in his feet, and like maybe they do that in the later films when they have more of a budget to do better shots, closer up shots, more prosthetics, like that kind of thing. Maybe part of the reason they don't have that in this first film is because of the shoestring budget. But that made it so much more bearable for sure.
Totally.
And also it's more like the psychological element is the torture more than the physical torture. Like, yeah, it is like, do you have to cut off your own foot? That seems bad, but it's like what would you do to save yourself or save blood? Like, that's the element that's like the actual torture that's interesting.
How far would you go? Which I love. I love a psychological thriller. I love the psychological aspect of this. I was like, when I was texting the girls this morning when I was watching it, I was so anxious just about the concept of watching this movie that I was like freaking out for the whole first 10 minutes. I was like, but like, I thought it was going to be only in that one room the entire time. And I was like, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown if this is all just in this room the whole time. And thank God there are so many flashbacks, so many. Because they were a little funny, some of them, and it really broke it up for me a little bit. So it wasn't too intense of an experience. That would be an incredible movie, though, if it was just all in
I
one
kind
room.
of thought it was going to be that. And I kind of was interested to see that. And then it was more like, and this is what I was going to tell you earlier when you were scared to watch it and you were like, I don't know if I'm going to like it. And I was like, do you want me to say something that might help? And it's like one extra big episode of Criminal Minds. You know what I mean? Like it's a Criminal Minds
that's
episode.
Why I liked it so much.
Yeah.
Oh
it's
my
a
God,
CSI episode. It's like it's kind of Silence of the Lambs in some of the same things it's doing. Not that it like shares. Yeah, like cop drama plus the psychological examination of someone, plus you have like an actual serial killer doing work in the background as well. It's like that one Black Mirror episode where you see the people getting like steps by steps of like what to do next, and you don't really know what the deal is until the end.
Oh, I don't know if I've seen that one.
Yeah, but for sure, I was like, Monica's gonna like this because it's like that episode of Criminal Minds, which I'm sure was the Saw episode.
Oh, yeah. This is, it's so Criminal Minds coded. Wow.
Wow. No wonder we're having a great time.
Well,
but yeah, I mean,
it's confusing because online it's like, wow, yeah, this movie was on such a small budget because it all takes place in one room. Oh, but it doesn't.
Well, here's the thing. I think when they said that initially, they were talking about the short film.
Yeah,
but
I'm
I
sure
think
that
all of
does.
the filming locations are in one warehouse. So it is sort of one
Oh.
location. Even the chase scenes, the car chase scenes, they filmed some of that like in the basement. And they had like a
Oh.
fog machine and stuff. So it kind
Yeah,
of
that did look
one
funny.
room without
Okay.
I
being
was
like
wondering
one room.
okay. That makes sense to me. They just were really creative with their space.
Yeah,
And that's
they just
something I
said
can
this is a big
respect.
warehouse. We'll have the outside of the warehouse and then we'll dress the inside of these warehouse rooms and we can make one look like a house and one look like a hospital room and one look like a dirty, dank, disgusting little sewer line basement. Like they can kind of judge each room as necessary without needing to find like a house and a hospital and blah blah blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Damn.
Did y'all know that James Wan and what's the other one?
Lee Winnell.
Winnell.
Lee
I think that's
Winnell.
how you say his name. I'm just assuming, I guess.
So in this movie we see it very briefly how there's a camera watching them and we see somebody watching the security footage of them. They originally wanted to shoot the entire movie just in that security footage, so it would have looked like found footage, but in a security, like it would have been like all pieced together from the security cameras. And I was like,
Yeah,
that
I
would
think
be
that
difficult
was-
to
Bro.
watch, quite
I
frankly.
know, it'd be hard to watch. I think that was part of their one room idea thing at first too. And then it ended up
Yeah.
that helped out with their budgetary issues because like I said, they only had the one warehouse to film in. I think they filmed the movie in like 18 days or something like that. And then once they released a bunch of the actors, they couldn't or weren't able to get them back or couldn't afford to bring them back. And so like they did a lot of the reshoots themselves, like in the Amanda scene, whenever you see like close-ups of her hands and stuff like that, like those are Lee Winnell's hands, who plays
Oh
Adam.
my god.
And
Yeah,
he like wears a
wait.
wig at one point so that you can't like, if you glimpse him in the background, you can't tell it's not her. And they took a lot of the shots and made them into security footage so that they could sort of like fill out scenes where they didn't actually have the footage to fill it out.
I love that he wrote it or co-wrote it and starred.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize that because I've heard his name before when we've talked about James Wan in the past. So
Well,
And he
blowing
did
my mind.
Invisible Man.
Yeah. he was the
yes,
director
that's
on
what it
that.
was. Yes, I was like, I know this name so well, and I was like, does he partner? Also, I assumed
He is like besties
I
with James Wan
assumed
though. Yeah.
that
you know-
Lee Winnell was a woman, and so when you said
I did
he,
when we did
I
Invisible
Googled-
Man too. I was like, damn,
yeah,
not a
I
female directed
know.
film. Fine.
Disappointing. I was like, oh, Chelsea, you misgendered her. Beautiful Lee. Nope, I was wrong, but I did blow my mind to see that that's Adam.
And we do have a very complicated history here on Spooky Tuesday with James Wan, a director.
I know. That's part of
know.
why, like, okay, before I watched the movie last night, here was my night last night. I'm trying to figure out what
Spell
my
it out
birthday
for
pick
us.
is for next week. So I was like, let me watch this movie that's been recommended to me recently. Maybe I'm gonna want to do it. So I watched it, and then I was kind of like, those vibes were sort of whack. I have to watch Saw anyway. Maybe I'm just gonna unwind and watch Saw. Because I
Just wind down for the night with a little
Unwind
glass
my
of wine and
evening.
Saw on the telly.
I think I know what I'm getting into at least. Like I know what the deal is for the most part. And I also decided, like, would it maybe be a funny little bit if actually I love Saw? And I'm not doing this, I don't think. But I was like, what if I watch Saw and I love it? And then I'm like, and next week we're doing more Saw 2.
Saw 2.
Saw 2. Let's
It's
go.
Saw 2's week.
Yeah. And like, look, after I watched it last night, and I did rewatch it today because I was like, perhaps I'm delirious. It's too late in the evening last night. I watched another movie right before. I was just like, let me review some things. But
She was going balls to the wall with her movie.
I know, because I
enjoyment.
watched another one today before I watched this again, just to be like, what am I gonna do for my birthday pick? Getting stressed out. but it
I'm so
like
sorry.
I did like it. I was like, I'm not gonna do Saw 2 next week. I didn't like it
Thank
that
God.
much. Can you imagine? But I was like, I probably would sit down and watch the whole franchise in a marathon if somebody invited me to. Like, I probably would do that.
I know a guy who's in some of them.
Ooh.
Oh my god, fun. Is it Beverly
Anyway,
Mitchell from Seventh Heaven?
no, it's not.
Oh,
Bummer.
she's not the
With
guy
you.
that you know.
She's not the guy that I know, unfortunately. She's not that guy. It's a different guy.
Is it the lead singer
Bummer.
of Counting Crows? I think he's in one
Yes.
of them.
How did you know I was best friends with the lead singer of Counting Crows? That is it. That's it.
Maybe it was not the lead singer of Counting Crows. Maybe it's the lead singer of something else.
Is it?
I didn't want to read too many spoilers when I was looking at trivia and stuff like that.
Is it Carrie Ellis
Oh!
from The Princess Bride?
Yeah,
No,
it is
from
Carrie
Robin
Ellis
Hood
from
Men
the
in
Princess
Tights.
Bride.
Yeah.
It's the guy from Lincoln Park, just so you know, is in a future installment. Not Counting Crows.
Oh,
but
what? Oh,
Yeah.
I gotta keep watching these. They're gonna go like that. They're gonna do that. Amazing.
they've got like a crazy built out cast, I think. Over time.
And there's a new one coming out like
Mhm.
Yeah.
soonish, which is
And
gonna
they
be
had
the
that
10th.
Jigsaw one just a few
Oh, I
years
heard
ago.
that sucked. I heard that sucked.
There's
But they did
10
fun marketing for it.
They
movies.
did.
That's all
They
I
did.
remember. They had
They
that sexy
did.
Jigsaw.
But I've been known to be wrong, so maybe it was great. I don't know.
Can we talk about how I think that the puppet that they use for Jigsaw is named Billy?
Yes, I read that. I didn't
I
like
love
is the puppet
that.
named Billy within the movie? They've just named the puppet itself Billy as a prop. Like, I don't know, because they never said Billy within the film, but they might in the larger franchise.
Can we talk about how Billy is an incredibly sinister name?
The ultimate horror
The
name.
ultimate horror
Yeah, no.
scary name. Like
Whenever
if
I
you see a
meet
Billy,
anyone
run
named
from
Billy-
run in fear.
Well, because
Yeah.
Billy the Jigsaw puppet, Billy Loomis from Scream, wasn't his
Yeah.
name controversially potentially Billy in Black Christmas? Because there's
I
like the
don't-
phone call and they say and it's like, is his name Billy or is he saying the name Billy about somebody else?
I
I
dated
don't
a guy
recall.
named Billy.
I
Ooh.
know, I
Villain.
recall, because Sydney and Billy.
Yep. Villain.
Villain name. I don't know if I know anyone named. Oh, my brother's name is Billy. Oh, I don't know why that took me so long to realize. It's my half brother. Anyway.
Okay, yes, though. Billy Lynn's Black Christmas, Billy Chapman, Silent Night, Deadly Night, which we've covered also.
Oh my God, I love that
Mhm.
movie.
There's at least a few good Billies right there.
Bad boy Billy.
Billy
what they're
Nolan,
all
a
known
character
as.
in the Carrie franchise.
Did
See,
you just
Billy's
Google
just a-
bad Billies?
Yeah, I
Bad
googled
boy
horror movie
Billies.
boys named Billy.
Amazing. But yeah, I mean, I think this movie is its strongest when it is just in the room. I think that's when
Yeah.
it is the most terrifying because you're feeling that psychological torture. That's a word.
Torture.
Torture, terror combo pack.
Oh, I
but-
like that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I've heard about this movie for 1,000 years and I never knew Danny Glover was in it and I fucking love him. So that was such a glorious surprise for me. So I'm glad they left the room so I could see him because I adore
Mhm.
him. But I was having the hardest time because I knew that Dr. Lawrence was someone that I recognized in some vague sort of way. And I was like, why does that look like Jonathan Groff's older brother? And I just couldn't stop thinking about Jonathan Groff the entire time. I was like, he must be related to him in some regard. Anyway, no, it's the guy from Princess Bride. That was a big surprise for me after the movie was over.
I was shocked. When I watched this at 14, those two things did not click in my mind, and I think it's the hair. And
Mm.
also, he did such good acting in Princess Bride and Robin Hood Men in Tights, and he did such bad
I loved
acting.
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
He was
in
incredible at
this
this. What are you
movie.
talking about? I was moved.
The
could
acting
not
was
figure
so
out-
bad.
he couldn't get fully away from his accent, and he ended up actually, I know we said earlier transatlantic accents for girls, but like he almost moved into that space with some of his lines, and he was like almost kind of giving that delivery as well, which really lends credence to the transatlantic accent being this like weird amorphous sort of vaguely old-timey British inspired, in the way that like the Virginia drawl can be traced back to the whole British accent as well and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, Adam did a much better job of getting away from his accent because he's Australian. But Carrie-Elle was, he lived in it a little too much for American actor, American doctor, or whatever.
Well, here's the thing: he should have just committed to the bit and
Just
been
be British.
a British.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then everybody would be like, "Where are we? We're just in one room."
Well, because it's a made-up city, so it wouldn't matter. He
We
could
can
have
do
been
whatever
British.
we
and
want. It's their
also-
world.
It doesn't matter. He could be British, married to a wonderful American family, living in America, being a doctor in America.
Do you really think American audiences could handle that confusion, Sydney? My mommy
Yes.
would not understand.
Oh my god.
Those wouldn't
They
My
had to
mom-
make it more palatable for
My
an
mom
American
watching
audience.
Orphan Black was so confused by anytime a character had a British accent and was like, wait, I thought they were in Canada. Like, you can't expect people to be keeping track of an accent not matching the location of the place.
Oh my god.
Okay, but was Mindy going and seeing Saw in 2004?
Yeah, obviously,
yeah,
she's seen the whole franchise. She
She's
just didn't
a
want me to
big
see it.
saw
And
head.
she was like,
yeah.
actually,
Sawhead.
this is my thing. This is
a
when I need to get out of the
Sawhead.
house, have some me time without my husband or my children. I go and I see a Saw movie.
Good for her. She has to have that
Yeah.
release somewhere. You
Well,
know,
they
to
Every
did.
can-
woman deserves a little unwinding time. Like I said, it runs in my blood, I guess. I just didn't
Mhm.
unlock it until last night.
And here's the thing: they've been pumping these out like every year.
Steadily.
Yeah, there's gonna be 10 movies because it Saw.
Does that
X,
include
right?
Jigsaw?
I
Or is
think
that like
so.
separate from Jigsaw? Like, is Jigsaw the 10th technically, and Saw 10 will be the 11th in the universe?
No, I think this is gonna be the 10th one.
Let's see.
Okay.
Saw 2, Saw 3, Saw 3D,
Oh,
Oh,
Jigsaw
know
and
what that
Spiral were
is.
different movies.
Saw 4, Saw 5, Saw 6. I don't know. Saw
Yeah, Saw 10 is
3D?
the 10th. There is no Saw 8 or 9 or 7. They just have their Saw 3D, Jigsaw, and Spiral.
Okay.
yeah. So it's the
Saw
10th movie
3D,
in the
the
franchise.
7th one.
Yeah, and that's the one where Carrie's spoilers for the fate of some characters in this film.
I don't.
Don't tell Monica.
You
Okay.
can say it. I took my headphones out.
No, that's okay.
Did you
She
say
can't
it?
hear. She took her headphones.
No. I mean, I don't want to ruin anything for Monica. I only wanted to talk about it because it was relevant to all of the like Hollywood strike stuff these days. And just like, you know, studios taking advantage of their actors and stuff like that to be like, oh, we're gonna make $1 zillion, and even though we said that we'll pay you 1% or profits or whatever, they do Hollywood math to be like, actually we spent so much on marketing, there's none left for you, sorry, and they just like cheat you out of the profits that you're technically owed. But I won't say the end game of that, but I'll text you about it later, Sydney.
Yes, text me because I love a good spoiler. Monica,
You're safe.
come back.
You're safe, Monica. You're
Come
safe.
back, Monica.
Well, I was waiting for maybe like some sort of gesture so I would know to come back in. I didn't want to come back in the second that you said whatever happened.
Sure.
I don't want to know. But yeah, I love a franchise that really continues on just no matter what. So that's good to know. Like, there's so many of them. I've got a lot of watching to do. But I really like the way that the story like unfolds in this because they have a lot of fun little twists and turns. That's really exciting. And I really did. A lot of people said that this is like a bootleg 7, and so they got mad about it. I can totally see that in some of the flashback scenes because, like, have y'all seen 7?
No.
Yes.
Oh, you should see 7.
That
but, like,
movie
in
was
7, it's-
weirdly one of my grandparents' favorite movies. Like
That
like
is so
Mark's
weird.
parents, they had it on VHS at their house, and we would all watch it together.
That's where you get it from.
And my
That's where he
grandparents
gets it
died when
from.
I was like 11 and 14. So, or like, yeah,
So
11 and
sweet,
14.
back
So,
when
like,
you were 8, watching this with grandma and grandpa.
again,
They just
What,
love
like Gramps and Mimi, were they those kind of grandparents?
Grammy and Grampy. And Grampy was
Grammy
the
and
one that was the
Grampy.
mortician. So, you know.
Mm.
And Grammy
So
was
he
an
loved
English
a
It's
little
in
film
your
about
blood,
Grammy was
babe.
an
How
It's
English
so
teacher,
beautiful.
so everybody
Mhm.
loved it. But that I literally we would go to their house, and I'd be like, oh my god, we get to watch 7. It was a thing that we did every time we went to their.
Very special. Well, yeah. So in 7, if you've seen it, it's like the 7 deadly sins, and there's murders based off of that. And so there's a lot of cop scenes where they go to the scene and they're like, "Oh God, it's terrible." And so that's exactly what it
Yeah.
felt like with that first flashback scene. And that one is super terrible, where the guys
the razor
saw-
wire.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Oh
I
my
would-
God.
It was so hard to keep track of everything in this movie that when I watched it the second time, I literally had like 3 separate areas of my notes where one was just for thoughts, one was for checking the chronology of events, and one was for just tracking like the different jigsaw games / puzzles and like the subtext or explicit text of like why what was happening to them, what was happening to them.
Yeah. So for that guy, he had
Paul.
attempted to commit suicide, or am I not supposed to say that word?
He attempted to die by suicide is
he
like
attempted
the
to die by
For like
suicide,
attention,
and it,
though.
huh? Well, he just
Did they say attention or
yeah.
well, that's what he
Like
said.
Jigsaw was like, "Oh, did you actually do it, or were you just doing it for the attention?"
That's part of the psychological torture, though. That's like part of the thing where he's like questioning his motivations, because the Jigsaw is coming from a place where like life is sacred, right? And so like anyone who wastes their
is
life,
not, yeah.
quote scare quotes, wastes their life, is like gonna be subject to his fucking game, because that pisses him off more than for some reasons that we'll talk about later.
Who knows why?
Who knows why? But yeah, so he was like, "Oh, you attempted this, and you're not taking life seriously, blah 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 blah. Did you actually want to die? Because if you did want to die, you can die right now." And he didn't. He really tried to get out, and then he got all sliced up. Did you hear that part when they're like, "Yeah, he got sliced so bad that there was stomach acid all over the ground"?
On the
I
ground.
love
How could we?
that.
How could we forget that?
Ew, no.
Yeah, that stood out to me a lot. I was like, wow,
Disgusting.
it cut up his whole tummy. See, that's the thing. I expected, and you kind of said this already, but I expected it to be like you were watching him
1,000
climb
razor slice.
through
Yeah.
the tunnel. You're gonna see him like, oh God, going through the tunnel, being like, ah, everything is a montage in this movie. All of the horrifying parts are a montage, or you don't actually see it. So it's really not bad at all. I'm sure it gets way worse in the later ones, because the sequels tend to be like, let's turn it up a notch. Let me
Yeah,
show
and
you
they're
the
like-
bone popping out, like that kind of shit.
There was stuff that they wanted to put in this movie and that they filmed and that they had to cut so that it didn't get an NC-17 rating and they could
okay.
release it with an R rating, like with the Amanda stuff, which I think is really sort of like not the classic
It's the
Saw
quintessential
torture,
Saw
but
torture. It
yeah,
really is.
the element of like you have to dig something out of someone else is really what I think of when I think of Saw, or what I used to at least.
Yes, totally.
And in the original footage that they shot, like you really saw her like pawing through those intestines and stuff like that. but that was what got cut out for the most part so that they could have the release that they did.
Yeah, so
It
they
was like
wouldn't
that
have
kind of thing.
to be NC-17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that they didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like,
But I've seen some of the sequels. I know
Mhm.
I've seen the first 3.
okay.
I don't think I've seen I've never seen one in 3D.
Okay.
But
What?
do-
I'm
yeah,
shocked.
3D.
I'm interested in maybe how do I get 3D glasses so I can watch it in 3D now.
They used to have those 3D DVD players, so maybe we can scrounge one of those up on eBay.
Going
Sorry,
to eBay
continue.
right now. But this movie doesn't actually show that much gore.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like when when Carrie is what's his name? Larry.
Dr.
Larry.
Lawrence.
But
He's so
when
not a
he's
Larry.
like doing all his other stuff, like you don't see it. It gets looked away when
Mhm.
she's like cutting him up. You don't see it. They show their
Yeah.
face. They like show the person.
It's like
doing
the
its
horror
face.
of what you have to do more than like the
Doing
gore of your body being whatever.
And part of me wonders, like, I wish they would have stuck with that with a bigger budget. Know what I mean? I think
Mhm.
because sometimes
Yeah.
the implied violence it's just like with the
Is
monster,
scarier.
right? Like when
Yes.
you don't see the
Yeah.
monster, it's a lot more
Exactly.
scary.
Or
Yeah,
like
and
in
it's
Texas
gonna
Chainsaw
age well.
Massacre, when she gets like hung up on the hook and you don't
Yeah.
have to like see the close up of the hook to be able to be like, that seems really bad and that is upsetting to me. Like you don't need
Yeah.
to see. Sometimes people love the gore. Sometimes I like the gore. It can be really effective. Like I loved
Yeah.
it in Ready or Not, but there are other
I-
times where it's like actually that it's fine, but that's not what's needed to communicate the actual horror, and you're communicating it just fine without showing it.
No, totally. And I agree. I can really get down with some dirty, nasty shit. But I think I was so expecting so much dirty, nasty shit that I
Yeah.
was so anxious that when it wasn't there, I was like relieved. But then, like looking at it now after seeing the whole movie, I could have used a little bit more, to be honest. Like, I could have used a little bit more. It could have been. I feel like it would have been scarier. Like I feel like I liked the movie in the way that like we like horror movies a lot of the time, where we're like, I had a blast, but it didn't like I didn't actually
You weren't
feel
scared.
like at all. You
Yeah.
know. Have any of you guys seen Terrifier yet?
Mm-mm.
Ugh. See, I don't know if I'm gonna be able. I feel like I could handle it, but I don't know if I'm gonna like it because it's like gore to the
I
nth
know.
degree.
Gotcha.
That's why I haven't
Yeah.
decided to
Yeah.
sit down. Because
I
one,
would say
I
with
don't
group for sure, but
Yes,
not just by
I don't
myself.
I don't
Fuck
want to
that
watch it by
shit.
myself, and nobody wants to watch that. So maybe when I come to LA in November, we can group watch it outside.
Yeah, we can sit on each other and
Maybe.
embrace
And
from the
embrace each
fear.
other, and we can each we can all cover each other's eyes.
Yes, that would be
lovingly.
so cute. That would be really cute. I'll leave a little gap so you can kind of see what's going on. Or what I used to do I can't remember who it was. They would like close their eyes during a movie and I would tell them what was happening.
You'd like
Who
do a little
was
whisper.
that? I'd be like, okay, they're going into the room. Nothing scary yet. Oh shit, there's a guy. Like in the theater, I'm sure people loved that. It was quiet. I'm good at whispering. But yeah, I could have used a little bit more gore. But yeah, I do love all of the flashbacks to the other kills. I think I liked that it was reminiscent of Seven. Because Paul's kill was fucking gross. Like the whole timed door thing that was just open
Mhm.
and waiting for him, and there's no other way out. I love what's the girl's name?
Amanda.
Amanda. That bear claw headdress thing is so fucking cool looking. It's so cool. It's also, did you notice the like light steampunk elements throughout the film?
Oh yeah.
The big
Also-
gear.
Her bear trap headpiece haunted my dreams. And I was like, was that this one? Was it like the second one? And when I saw it was this one, I was like, oh my God, yes. It made such an impact. And especially I love, and I kind of love when they do this. When we see it with Paul, we see it with her, and they speed up them like panicking, right?
Yeah.
And it's such like a cool shot, but
She's
also
just like flailing around.
Yeah. A lot of just like wasted time and like no real sense of urgency for some of these people. Like Amanda, when she hears her little like when she moves to go cut open
When she finally
the
gets
dead
up
body,
and she hears it like click.
and then she wastes precious seconds like trying to get it off instead of just immediately going. And I feel like if she wouldn't have wasted those seconds, he wouldn't have woken up and she would have just done it and then been like, okay, fuck it.
Well,
Who was that guy to her? Like she had to have known him, right?
Well,
know.
she's for sure in the sequel, so I don't know if they ever like cover that at some point, but she definitely comes back for more Saw movies.
I feel like they don't typically pit you like against someone that you know, because it's more about like humanity in general instead of like oh, would you save your family over blah 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 blah. It's so interesting. I just read a book that's very similar to this. It's called The Test, and it's super fucked up, and it was only 2 hours on audiobook, and it was super fucked up. It's a horror
I can't
book,
believe
so
Donnie
read
Wahlberg is in the second Saw movie.
that doesn't surprise me at all. That doesn't
Yeah.
surprise me at all. When now that I know that Linkin Park is in this in the later movies, like of course Donnie Wahlberg is in it. But yeah, I mean, because she just immediately he wakes up and she just starts stabbing him like almost right away. You know, and I know she's got time is short for her, but she's like, it was smart. Honestly, in that situation, it was smart. You don't want him to say words to you and humanize himself even more. Kill him before you get attached.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Listen,
why
she did it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like
that's why she survived.
You said she hesitated, but also she didn't have until she heard that, she didn't know that there was like a dead body or allegedly a dead body in the room with her. You know what I mean? Like Carrie Elwes, what's his name? Gordon? Does he have a different first name or
Gordon
is it
Larry?
Oh, Lawrence, that's right.
It's Lawrence, yeah.
Yeah, he and Adam wake up in the room, and as soon as they get the lights on, they see there's already a dead guy who had to shoot himself to not die slowly by poison in the middle of the room. So like shit is already immediately real to them that someone has not escaped already. And then like Amanda wakes up and she knows the situation is dire because she's restrained and she has this horrible device on her face and she can only taste blood in her mouth. So she knows that like violence has already been done to her to some extent. But she doesn't necessarily have the appreciation for the fact that like you really might die and here's the proof if you don't do it yet. So like if she's not fully geared up to stab somebody right away, right off the bat, I think, fair enough, but she only needs 5 seconds to prepare herself.
Yeah. I also like, oh, sorry.
I was going to say, how fast would y'all stab that dead body and devour them to look for that key?
I don't know, girl.
I don't know.
Here's
I don't want to.
And I hate to say this, but I feel like if it was a stranger, so fast. I got a fucking bear trap with a time clicking noise going on the back, and I just watched a creepy doll tell me
the video, man.
Yeah, she gets the doll, so almost nobody else gets the doll.
I know. I would be like, sorry, dude. So fast. So fast.
I know. He really upped the production value for her, which like how special. Also, I just want to give a little shout out to Jigsaw in general because he's a man with vision. Okay. Like truly, like he's got so many little details going in here. He's got a creepy puppet. Amazing. We see that is exactly where James Wan got the idea for Dead Silence. Not that I've seen that, but it is about a puppet. So we've got Billy the puppet. We have the pig mask, which
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been to so many Halloween Horror Nights with that pig mask, and I had no idea what it was about. And so that was informative for a lot of experiences in my life. That
You're like,
fucking
oh,
pig
I get
has
it
scared me
now.
so many times in the past. And the pig has long, beautiful hair. That's a design aspect added in as well. Also, he plans his shit out with miniatures.
The
Which is very
diorama.
CSI.
Yes, it's just like the miniature killer from CSI. That's in my
CSI.
little reference notes. And like the fact that that diorama was at the Jeff jigsaw puzzle, that guy's name is Jeff when they pull the curtain off him or whatever. That is like almost 5 months before what we see later. So he's planning this shit out in advance. Like that scene is 5 months earlier, and he's already planned out the whole bathroom scene, or is like figuring it out at least with his diorama. Like
Well,
those are elaborate.
He kind of has to. There's so many little tiny details and so many like it's like, oh, what are those things called where you hit the domino? It's like the domino effect, but they call them something and then
The
it
Rube
plays
Goldberg
a song.
machines.
Yes, those exactly. It's almost like that in a way because it's like he has to trigger all these things at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
It's an art.
And
It's
some
an
of
art.
them like are sort of variable. Like it could easily have been Lawrence that discovered the Polaroid of his family in his wallet instead of Adam discovering it. Like that note wasn't necessarily specific for one person or another. But it's interesting to see the way that he like puts the pieces on the game board at least. And the way he leads you a little bit at a time to unravel them. And I mean, it's just so the presentation is so interesting at the different crime scenes because like with Paul, I think it was just like a recording, right? And I don't know if he had like he had the little tape player, I think.
He just had the tape player. So they had the tape from him because I was like, maybe he did get a video and we just didn't know, but no, it would have had to have been left there.
Yeah, I think Amanda just is the only one who like has her hands restrained at first too. So he's like, I'm not going to just put a recorder in your hand. What if you drop it and you can't pick it up? I have to deliver my message to you somehow. I know if you're tied to this chair, I'll just have a little video that plays at you.
And at that point, he was escalating in his, I don't know.
To use some Criminal Minds verbiage.
Yeah, I'm trying to use the words.
The unsub
is escalating his MO and developing something. He had a bad childhood. Like, it's always that. It's always that. Also, I got so distracted while you were saying that because I saw a picture of James Wan with his cute little red hair with Vin Diesel, and I was like, why did that happen? I didn't realize that he directed Furious 7, and so that is just like really changing my perspective on James Wan as a director.
I gotta stop thinking of him just in consideration of the Conjuring and Insidious franchises. He's done so many other things.
He also directed a video called Doggy Heaven. So there's a lot to him. There's a lot more to him than you would think.
He also directed the Aquaman movies, and those are actually horrible. So
no,
they're so bad.
Do you think that is
just the
like
first
because
one.
of him, or do you think that is because like they just never quite figured out how to do the DC universe? Probably both, right?
I don't know, but we watched it on cable, but it took like 4 hours to watch this movie. Granted, there was commercials and stuff, but this movie, we were all sitting there, we're like, when is this movie gonna end? And it was just like not good the entire time. There was no good.
It can't all be hits for Mr. James. But,
it can't all be Megan.
It can't.
He wasn't the director on that, you know. He's just a producer and creator.
He's a producer. He's
got ideas
to the parties. He's a great idea guy. Great idea guy. Also, he looks so cute when he has the red streaks in his hair. Just saying, that was a great face for him.
He's a cutie.
Oh, sorry, I conflated it. He didn't have the red streaks in the picture with Vin Diesel. It was just right next to a picture of him with the red streaks. I don't want to put misinformation about James Wan's
don't
cool,
spread lies about his
early
red highlights.
Y2K hairstyles. He has neglected that style at this point in his career, which is a mistake. Maybe if he brought those streaks back, I'd like his movie again. But yeah, I really I want to really briefly talk about the cop aspect of this because we have to. So we have Danny Glover, whomst I
Cop.
love. Amazing. He is an incredible guy at being a cop. He is always a cop all the time in many, many, many films, and he's
like
amazing
the
in it.
cop, you know?
He is the cop. He is the cop that I love. Like, if I'm gonna have one cop that I like, it's
gotta be
Danny
Danny
Glover
Glover.
as a cop. But he also has his cop. What? Okay. Detective
partner.
Steven
His partner.
Singh, his co-cop is
co-cop.
what it's called. Okay. And okay, here's my question that I have. What happened to the hot curly head redhead cop lady at the beginning? Why isn't she there for all the rest of it? I'm glad because I wouldn't want her to die in a
Mhm.
very upsetting way. But I was very excited for her to be a part of the crew, and then she was gone. It was kind of a tease for me.
Well, I think the thing is that there really is no crew left by the present day parts of the movie because like we see what happens to Singh after they like find the lair from the Amanda video, and then they go and they have Jeff, and Jigsaw does his whole, you're a cop, do you care more about catching criminals or saving lives? Let's find out. Like after that whole thing, and then Singh goes down with the whole shotgun tripwire. um I'm sure someone is actively investigating, but they're not part of the film anymore at that point. That one detective is
Mhm.
gone. Danny Glover is not just kicked off the case, but like kicked off the force because they're like, you're not well. Like, you can't be police right
Well,
now.
that's because he watched his partner blowed up, you know? So,
Yeah, no, I'm not saying there's not a reason
but
he's
she
not
was already
well,
gone
but
before that. She was already gone before that.
she
And it was very
was, maybe
upsetting.
she's like a forensic person who was there for like the
Consultant.
crime scene and is not like one of the
Fine.
active detectives.
I was just hoping to
She's
see
CSI.
someone who wasn't a man on the fucking
Yeah.
screen for 5 seconds. We just get the girl in the mask, and that's it. What's her? I keep
Well,
forgetting her name.
Allison
I'm
and
so sorry.
Diana, the wife and mom, are there as
Yes.
well. Or wife and mom,
Yes.
that's one person, and the daughter.
Oh,
The
okay.
wife and the mom and the daughter, but that's only two people.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah.
there's also the affair girly, and here's
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
thoughts that I
his,
had in my head.
like student.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like, they obviously like set up that there's like a vibe between him and his students, I'll say. And so you're like, oh, okay, it's not that surprising that he's having an affair. It's revealed he's having an affair. Well, here is what I think. There was a man and a woman that were there, and I was really hoping, because I don't know what movie it is. I don't know which one of the Saw movies, but I heard there's something gay that happens. And so I thought it was this one, and I was like, is his mistress going to be a mister? And is it going to be that guy nurse or like doctor candidate, whatever? I don't fucking know the words for that shit. I was so stoked. I was like so ready for that to be it because I didn't feel vibes between Adam and Lawrence. So I was like, I don't think that's going to be it. And then that wasn't it. And I was so mad. And this movie was not that gay, but there was some intimacy towards the end, you know.
I could be wrong, but I do think this is the Saw movie where people ship the two guys. Like, maybe you didn't see the chemistry, and I didn't really see the chemistry, but there was that
There's
moment
a
near the end
little.
where they like
Yeah.
press their faces together, and I was like, I think this is the gay Saw movie after all.
Yeah. I was like, is that it? Really? That's it? I guess the
That's
bar was the
enough.
fucking floor in early 2000s. That's true. I don't
Mhm.
know. I just thought,
And
like,
also, a lot of shippers are like, do I really need there to be chemistry, or do I need there to be two attractive white boys?
right next to each other.
One
Yeah.
with an
And
accent
that's
and one
enough
with
for
brown
me,
hair.
for a lot of
Like
people.
that.
Yeah.
That's
You've
all
got
you
a blonde
need.
and a
Okay.
brunette. It is natural to pair them off into
Sheesh.
a couple.
Sheesh, you're so right. But wouldn't that have been fun? Ugh, I mean, we
Yeah.
never would have gotten that in 2004, but that's my re-rate.
They were also like natural enemies to a degree, in ways that I felt like they
Oh my
never
God,
fully
enemies to
addressed. Enemies to lovers challenge.
I know.
Enemies to reluctant collaborators to lovers. But yeah, I felt like, you know, they have the backstory that they slowly unpack of Danny Glover hiring Adam to follow Lawrence Gordon and take pictures of him. And like Danny Glover hired him to find out if he's a serial killer, but like Adam is just like, yeah, I got hired to prove that this guy's a cheater, which like fucking classic.
Yeah.
So they have that like natural animosity, or like that's under the surface, but they never really talk about the whole, right off the bat the instructions are like, hey Lawrence, you have to kill Adam. Like that doesn't really seem to there. I mean, there's like definitely some distrust that you see from Adam that influences his actions, but he's never like, why would I help you, aren't you going to kill me?
Yeah, I guess, but I don't know. I think that Lawrence does a pretty good job of he
Being
considers it for
calm
sure.
and yeah.
But he's a doctor, you know? So it's like his job to save lives. So like he looks at that and he sees that, but he's like, there's got to be another way. He also thinks he's so smart that he can think his way out of it, which is a big part
like with
of
the
it
little
too.
cigarettes, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna pretend like I poison you, and you're gonna give the worst
It was a decent
fake
plan.
death
Oh my
I've ever
Do
seen.
it so
Thank you
fast when
for
you have a
bringing
ticket
that up.
clock. Yeah.
That was so fucking funny. And like literally, I did a better job right now than he did.
Also, like, very silly because the whole thing with the guy who had to shoot himself was, oh, actually, I guess it was Mark who had the slow moving poison, or what? Someone had who
Zep.
had this. Zep had the slow moving poison. Yeah, so I guess
Zep had the slow moving poison, but the guy
on the floor, they said there's so much poison in his blood, but I guess they don't say it's slow moving. I was about to be like, and so it's especially silly that he fake died immediately, but it could have been a super fast acting
poison, you know?
and the guy
And he
was just
could've-
faster on the draw. He was an old school cowboy.
they might not have all been like put in the room at the same time too, you know. So,
Yeah.
like, he could have been
Oh, for
there
sure.
having his whole nightmare scenario for a few days, and now
And they just left him.
he had to do it.
Fairly fresh, but obviously there's like a whole other stuff there that
Yeah.
we
Uh,
don't need to speculate on that too much because it's pointless, but
we're jumping around, but I just want to go back to the cop warehouse scene where they finally like track him down.
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys screamed at the TV during this movie, but I was very vocal. I'm home alone, so oh no, I'm not. Wait, this will come out when I'm not home alone. I'm home alone, so I can say that. I'm worried that someone will come kill me. And so I like to
James
yell.
there.
Well, I was home alone today, and I'm
Mhm.
home alone all day long, you know?
I mean,
And
I'm also home alone at all times, but I've got big scary dogs who will eat you. So
yeah, true, fair. But
I'm
I talk
never
a lot
home
to
alone.
the
I
TV.
always have my strong bodyguard nearby. So
That's true. Yeah,
I
you
have
do.
my
you do.
multiple personalities that I keep on deck with me at all
You keep
times.
that thing on you.
And I have guns in lots of different rooms in my house now. So
That's-
and a
that is
possessive
true.
ghost boyfriend who's always
Yeah.
looking out for you and has your back.
and
so
lots of
true.
cameras ever since I had a stalker who broke into my house.
So
Loves
she's got her basic. Watch out, everybody! Don't try anything.
She is geared up.
Yeah, now
Um,
that I've had my third stalker, I'm prepared now.
Jesus Christ. See, need not apply. It's already been
Three's the magic
filled.
number. We reached
Yes.
the quota.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
We're
reached
full.
the quota.
We don't need
There's
any
no room
more.
for
It would actually,
anymore.
honestly, be really reductive if anybody did it again. Like that's
It'd be
you're
tired.
just repeating people before you.
It'd
It's
be
over.
fucking
Actually,
tired.
Okay, but here's the thing. I've had one when I was 17, one when I was like
Rude.
22, and now one
Rude.
at 32. So it's one per decade.
this decade has
So you
been
get a-
claimed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this decade has been
Yeah.
claimed.
Try again
in my
after Sydney turns
40s.
40.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
But honestly,
gonna have
then
to wait.
it'll still be kind of used up as a trope. So
Yeah. It'll
I'll
have
be
been
tired.
done before.
Done. Mm-hmm. You want to be original. But I was screaming at the TV a lot during this movie, like particularly at the end, but also when Mr. Man was sitting in that dentist chair with the drills coming at his head, and the cop was like trying to do all the keys, and I was like, "You have a gun. Shoot the fucking drills. Are you fucking stupid?" I was so mad. And then he
Or
finally
like
did it.
unplug them or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who knows how that was rigged up, but
Sure.
still,
Mm-hmm.
just shoot them. And then he did do that. And I was like, well, thank you for listening to me. But Danny Glover already got his throat slashed. So a little too late. I
Yeah.
was furious. But his death was really, really good. I loved that. Like, it was so well put together. Like the fact that the cobwebs were like right above the tripwire, so he'd never see it. Jigsaw is meticulous. I love
He
a
brought
man with a
spiders to that
plan.
location and he released them into the hallway and he said, "Do your work, little guys. I
I
believe
just-
in you,
Right.
little guys."
I
did
want to
that.
know what it's like to have that much focus. Like I
That much
have
foresight.
like I have a lot of want for like revenge that in my head I could think of all these things, but like I'm never going to do it. That's so much effort.
And then to like,
I'm so scared about what you just said.
she's too lazy to do the
Jesus
jigsaw
fucking
puzzle,
Christ.
but she
Yeah.
has the vision.
I literally think about murdering people in my head and how I
No,
would do it
she's kidding.
all the
She's
time.
kidding.
I am just so
FBI.
lazy. No, I'm not.
There's nothing wrong with thoughts. Thought crime
Yeah.
isn't illegal yet. If the government has its way,
I'm so lazy. Like I would need to like I can barely do I can't put my laundry away without having to like
Oh, yeah,
lie
I feel
down
that.
after the first 5
I
minutes
feel
and being
that.
like, this is exhausting. To like have to go plan it, set it up, and then go
Execute it.
kidnap them and then
Yeah.
watch them the whole
Well,
time and then check
you-
on them. I
some
couldn't
of
do
it
that.
you can like
But
farm
then more
out to
people
other-
know about it, and then like they could get a
Yeah.
conscience and
Yeah.
fucking turn you in. Awful.
Well, that's why you slowly poison them so that way they don't. And even if they do,
Mhm.
they're dead.
But like Allison and Diana got away from Zeb, you know what I mean? Like he didn't tie them securely enough or whatever and all that stuff. Like he, you know, Jigsaw,
it's so
if you want
true,
something done right,
especially,
Done
sometimes
right,
you
you
have to do it for yourself. Yeah. So
No.
it's tough out here to be such a girl boss.
And I feel like I would be such a control freak about that, where I'm like, you know what? I can't trust anybody because everybody's
That
gonna
I
let
really
me
relate
down
to,
and
yeah.
disappoint me that I have to do it myself.
I can't believe my little torture victim is not executing my plan properly. Like, what else do I have to do? I already threatened his family and put a slow moving poison in his bloodstream. I said poison.
I've had so many people be like, Sydney, you need to ask for help.
Not in
like,
this
And
regard,
I'm like,
not-
no, absolutely not.
not with my
So,
murders. That's what between me and the man I'm killing.
Not not for anything.
Okay, speaking about men who I don't know if he should be killed, but speaking about men, Larry Lawrence, Dr. Lawrence, when he really
Don't fuck your students. Don't give them a pager for booty calls. What was that about?
Did y'all have pagers in the early 2000s?
No.
Was that like just
No,
a doctor thing? I was
before
like,
my time.
we were too young to have a pager.
Mhm.
I loved the throwback flip phone and the like little like
So
Nokia
good.
like brick.
Remind me to
so
come
good.
back to that.
But I mean, like, if I was baby and I said, Daddy, there's a man in my room, and no one fucking like looked everywhere, I would be irate. I would be that. You didn't check the fucking closet? Are you?
You
That's
didn't
like
check
the
the- what do you
only
mean you
place
didn't
it
check
could
the
be in
closet?
the whole house. Like he phoned that shit in. Oh my god!
Under
that's
the bed,
so
in the closet.
infuriating. And I also
This is what I'm saying. If you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. You have to
I
girl
know,
boss
I know,
yourself
but she is
into
a
checking
child,
your
and
own
so she
scary
should
closet.
be able to rely on her father at a time like that. But no.
She's like 7. She should know better.
Yeah. The other reason that I thought that he was
Oh,
gay and had a boy lover was because the wife was like, you don't pay any attention, blah, 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 something like that. And I was like, it's because he's gay and he doesn't like you anymore. And
Yeah.
that's not fair to you. And you deserve better. Yeah.
And he's tired of pretending.
There's a lot of evidence there.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that because it's not, he didn't have that much
No.
passion for his affair partner either. He just maybe wanted attention and he hadn't processed enough where he wanted the attention to come from until he met Adam. But we'll get to that in the how
We'll
could this
stay on
movie
task.
be gayer
We'll stay on
section,
task.
maybe.
Um,
We'll stay on task for
but yeah,
now.
like the psychological torture with the phone calls was extra nice. Woof, woof, woof.
Woof.
Oh, that was
Yeah,
intense.
yeah, yeah. And then having the wife bring in the like, is Adam there? Don't believe Adam's lies and stuff like that. Like that was a tricky little thing too, because that really confused the issue for me at first. Also, because I was like, did the wife hire him? And then he obviously reveals that it was Danny Glover. But
well, I
given
thought
that it was like part of
for
the
me,
affair
it felt like it was clear that
storyline.
the guy is making her say it because he had the gun to her head. But yeah, like
Yeah.
at this point, we'd had so many flashbacks to shit with Dr. Lawrence and nothing from Adam, like at all, pretty much. And I was like, okay, we need to know something. But I guess they did reveal it earlier that he was taking photos of Dr. Lawrence because there was that picture of that he was doing in his black room is not what it's called, dark room, he was developing, and like it was
Black
a picture of him, of Dr. Lawrence, that, and then you saw it through like the hole in the door, and I was like, why am I looking at, I literally couldn't understand what I was seeing at that point. But I was like, oh, what a coincidence.
Mhm.
He took a picture of him, how interesting. So that didn't really click for me. But yeah, finally they gave him all the backstory that he actually needed, you know, because I was like, he seems kind of suspect. I don't know. There are so many different ways this movie could have gone. Like I was like, maybe Dr. Lawrence is the killer and he's been there the whole time, you know. I was like, maybe that is it, and that's what's gonna be the twist. And I was so close.
You were close. Yeah, I really did not anticipate the reveal at the end, although it made so much sense once they lay it out for you.
Yeah.
But it got me for sure.
It's a
I
great
was
twist, and
very
also,
surprised by that.
like, Sydney and I watched this show, and I can't remember what it's called. Sydney, what's our show that we watch?
Evil?
Yes, thank you. Evil. And it has a evil character in it that's played by Michael Emerson, who plays Zepp Hindle. What a name. And so I was just so fully ready for it to be him, you know, for him to be the killer, because he's got that look about him. He's just got kind of an evil looking face. He's a cute guy, but he's got an evil looking face. Very well cast. And when I first realized it was him, I was like so excited. I was like, yes, this is his demon origin story. But yeah, I mean, the reveal was so good and also so sad, because like we get this whole like breakdown where it hits 6 p.m. Lawrence hasn't killed Adam yet. 6 p.m. was the cutoff time, so like that means that his daughter and his wife are gonna die now. And so that's about to go down, but luckily Danny Glover's pissing me off during this movie, because he's sitting there across the hall watching this camera, seeing like some other man in the apartment, and he's like, oh well, there's some other man in there, bro.
Right?
Get someone's fucking your wife,
He's being
bro.
so
Like
petty.
he's just feeling like petty vindictiveness.
Yeah,
Like, we're not
but he
gonna
finally
check this out at all.
Yeah, you best believe
seriously.
someone's fucking
He
your
finally gets
wife.
his ass
Take
into
that,
gear,
bitch.
thank God, and has that like kind of fucked up showdown. I will say it's very, very obvious. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I'm cutting myself off. The girl, the wife, is such a bad bitch. She's such a bad bitch. I love her. there was no women in this entire movie except for that, like, for 5 seconds, but she at least like was a woman with a plan and she handles her shit. But also, I was like,
Handles
oh,
her
I hate
shit.
that I've become this person. I was like, execute him immediately. Execute him. I was screaming at the TV, shoot him in the head. Shoot him in the head. And I was like, don't talk to him. He's gonna overpower
Always
you.
aim for
Not
the
that,
head.
like,
You
he's
gotta double
stronger, but
tap.
like he's a crazy guy, you know, like, and he's gonna fight for his life. So just like shoot him. Anyway, I will say the car chase scene though is the funniest thing I've ever seen. I was like, what is this? And it makes sense that they filmed it in a room, like with us. It was like it felt like they were like,
Yeah.
because they did the speed up thing, right? So it felt like when a little kid drives like pretends to drive a car and they just like move it all like
Mhm.
back and forth, back and forth. It
And they're
felt
like,
exactly like that.
yeah.
It was so funny.
Yeah, I mean there are parts of this movie that are a little silly. But the reveal at the end when Zepp finally comes into the bathroom scene is so interesting because you have like this there shit has gone down in that bathroom already. You know what I mean? Like Carrie Elwes sawed off his foot. He shot Adam already. It was after the 6 p.m. deadline, but he heard gunshots over the phone in the phone call from his wife and his daughter, and he was like, I don't care anymore, I'll try whatever if I think it might possibly save them. And he was able to still be like smart and creative with it because it turns out he shot Adam in the shoulder, so it was not a killing blow. But then Zepp comes in and it's like this whole other element at play. And thankfully Adam was okay because otherwise would have been game over for Lawrence.
To the hospital too. So he's having all these like not acquaintances really, but people who are lightly connected come together. He's fucked up. Why did he choose Zepp again?
I think he was just the hospital orderly who kind of took an interest because when we see the doctor talking to all of his little like residents and stuff, he's like, look at here, blah blah blah, and Zepp makes that comment like, oh, his name is John, he actually has a really cool story, and then we see John like open his eyes,
and John has like a little drawing, a little diagram that he's been working on in his sketchbook that you catch a glimpse of for a second.
Ooh.
That eagle-eyed viewers may or may not have recognized come to fruition later in the film.
But yeah, the reveal, because he kills Zepp. Okay, I was so happy when someone used the top of the toilet to smash his face in. Like, that's a really great weapon. That was so good. I was another time I was screaming at the top of my lungs. I was like, yeah, kill him. And then I accidentally got so excited. I hit the Disney Plus button on my remote, and it like during that crux moment took me to Disney Plus. Very upsetting.
No, it just takes you out of the whole moment right before maybe one of the best twists in all of cinema history. I vividly remember the reaction in theaters to this.
It's
like
crazy.
You never were gonna expect that.
Yeah, if you're not expecting it, we were losing a motherfucking minds. Like that's when we were like screaming. We were like,
I felt the same way today.
It was incredible.
I was like, what?
Yeah, I mean,
Monica sent us a picture because Monica was live, like texting us all her emotions and reactions, which I love when she does that.
I knew you had already watched it, so I only do that when I know you both have all already watched it.
Here's the thing, I love it. And she was like, we'll have to post the picture that she sent because
I do this thing where like if I feel myself making a face of a reaction, I like take a selfie of the face. Not like look at the camera, but I just take a selfie of the face.
Yeah.
Like you should see all the faces that I made when we watched Magic. Like no one has ever watched that movie. But I went on a face journey for sure. This is so horrifying. But anyway, yeah, I was jaw on the floor. There's evidence. I couldn't believe it.
It is truly unbelievable is 100% the word, because you've had this whole climactic showdown with Zepp when he shows up, and then you have Carrie Elwes like dragging himself down the hallway, being like,
And he
"I
looks
have
like
to
he's
go
already
get help, or
dead.
we're both gonna die down here."
Yeah.
Let's hope.
So
He
bad.
looks
so
already
pale.
his
Looks like a
lips are
crypt
so
keeper.
pale. Yeah, it looks like it is fully over for them both. And then Adam is left alone, and then poor John in the middle of the room, who you thought it was a goner. Although, did they ever like listen to
There wasn't a tape
his
in
tape,
there.
or was his? I can't remember if they listened to his tape.
Yeah, because I was like, I rewinded because I was like, wait, was there
Interesting.
something in
That's
there?
okay.
And that he doesn't put anything down or anything. Adam doesn't put anything down. He just puts his tape in.
Yeah, that's super interesting, because obviously the reveal that we're talking about is that guy stands on up and he pulls the ucky yucky gooey brains coming out of his head prosthetic off his bald head, and then he's like, the key to that chain is in the bathtub, and then he fucking walks out of the room, not processing that we saw the key go down the drain in like the first shot of the film. So sorry, Adam actually can't just free himself
And he
and fuck
locks
off.
him in there.
But that reveal is so wild. But the fact that there is no tape for him in the recorder, and there is no bullet already in the chamber. IMDb trivia told me what kind of gun
It's
it
some
was,
kind of
and I did not
revolver.
store that information away. But it also says, that kind of gun doesn't like expel the empty shells or whatever after you
Stays.
fire it. The empty shell would stay in the chamber. So when Carrie Elwes opens it and puts the single bullet in there, the fact that there's not already a casing in there, the fact that there's not already a tape in
Recorder.
the recorder is like a little hint that things are not
That's true.
as they seem. But there's so much going on, you can't
Totally.
possibly
Right,
like
you've got
process
panic
it in
brain.
time
If you could.
until they get to it later. If someone was like, where's the tape? I was a little bit like, where's the tape? But then at some point they're like, John, slow moving poison. And in my brain, I'm able to be like, okay, maybe we did hear
I was
John's tape,
thinking
and I just
that
can't
he
remember where
came
that
in and
information
took it,
came from.
so they wouldn't learn things about it when they dropped the bot. Because in my mind, like that guy had already been dead before, and then he went and got these new guys. I don't know why I created this whole backstory, but it really served the film. And so he just left the body there to like fucking terrify them even more. Yeah, that's what I thought was going on, but it was
Be
wrong.
scary.
The torture, yeah.
Or the torture
that
elements
ending.
of it.
Oh, so good. It was so good.
Yeah.
Any other general film thoughts before we do segments?
I have some, but I think they're segment related. But let me scroll through trivia and see if there's anything I want to mention. I will say that all of the bodies that you saw were real people's bodies, other than the burned guy. Like those were all actors pretending to be
Those
corpses rather than like prop corpses or whatever, presumably because they didn't have way cheaper to hire somebody to stand super still for a moment than it is to make a fake body that looks convincing on screen. But I thought that was interesting. So that guy, Tobin Bell, he really was just laying face down every scene that
Honestly,
they filmed
incredible.
in the bathroom. And they filmed all those bathroom scenes, right? Like, and it's so interesting because the movie kind of tricks you when it has Adam be like, I've never seen a dead body before. They don't move. So even if you maybe notice the actor moving at all, if you're super, super eagle-eyed, you can be like, well, but of course it's an actor in a movie, and the character within the movie said it's not moving, so within the world of the movie, I'm supposed to believe that it's not moving at all, so you can like write off any other clues that you may or may not have
Dead bodies
noticed on your
actually
own.
do move, and they groan. Well,
as
when
gases
rigor
are
mortis
released,
set in, like your
etc.
muscles are like retracting and stuff, and so you'll twitch, and sometimes like dead bodies will literally sit straight up, and then they'll like fall back down and they
Scary.
groan and
Bye. Hate that.
And so
no,
they do
thank
Twitch.
you. Haha.
I spent time in a morgue growing
Morgue.
up.
Ew.
Oh my god, yeah. But how
Look
can
at
I
so
say
my
it,
girl of
on
you.
at a time like this? How fucking dare
At a
you?
time like
How fucking
this.
dare you?
Oh wait, can we talk about the 9/11 of it all real quick?
Yes,
Chelsea's
yes. Thank you for bringing it back
birthday?
up. That's when I said remind me to go back to the
Never
cell phone.
forget
My
Chelsea's
birthday.
birthday.
The connection is that when you see the cell phone, the date on it is September 10th, 2001. And it's crazy that that's the date on it because the movie came out in 2004. So it's not like that was just contemporary to the time they were filming. They planned it in advance. Like somebody either like somehow ended up with a phone where that was the default and they just left it, or they programmed that in. But there's a very funny tweet that I don't think exists on the platform in its own right anymore now that everybody has like deleted their tweets, etc.
This guy just had the worst day of his life and is gonna have another worst day tomorrow.
Terrible.
Yeah, the one I hunted down is like, feel bad for the guys in Saw because tomorrow's gonna be a bummer too. And it's like you just escaped the Saw trap and clawed your way to safety, and maybe you had to cut off a foot to do it, and like also so sorry.
It's gonna be super sad
Tomorrow's
in a
also gonna be a
different
really
way, but
bad
it's still
day.
in a big way.
But it's also gonna be Chelsea's birthday.
People in the
Yeah.
they
don't
didn't
know
know that though. They didn't know me at the time. But the new
Surely.
Saw is gonna take that into
Surely.
account, I bet. Surely. But yeah, people were making jokes on the Tumblr post that I found that had preserved the tweet. And they were saying like saw an alternate ending where Jigsaw says, "I'm sorry, this is too overwhelming given the circumstances. You're free to go." Like if they go into that next
Actually.
day, Jigsaw sees what's going on outside and it's just like, oh, there's like life is precious, and that's my whole thing. So actually today's been hard enough.
You
guys
school is
just head
canceled
home.
for today. Please go home to your loved ones.
Dark.
School's canceled.
Woof. Big woof.
Yeah,
Okay.
woof.
Well,
So-
here, I'll
so
unwoof
woof.
it. How could this movie be gayer?
This movie could be gay. I mean, I can see like the vision for
Totally.
fan fiction about Mark and Lawrence, and like I can extrapolate a universe in which you would have them together in this way, or maybe they survive, and or maybe
Yeah.
just within that moment they have a connection. That's, you know what I mean. I'm on board for it, but you're right that I don't necessarily see the chemistry between them itself, but I saw that moment and how people could use that as like the snowball that rolls down the hill.
I thought something legitly gay happened. I have high expectations, I guess, for some reason. Why? It's never that. It's just because I just watched Red, White, and Royal Blue, and so I was writing that.
Another blonde and brunette
Exactly,
pairing.
I was hiding that legitimately incredibly gay vibe.
There you go, classic.
Right into Saw, which didn't work.
He should have been having an affair with a man.
Yes, he should have been having an
Yeah.
affair with that cute guy.
That would have
who
been fun.
Was there, right there, next to the girl that he actually was having an affair with. He was right there. Come on, Lawrence. He doesn't understand.
They could have had Danny Glover call the lady cop near the end, and she comes and like finds the wife and daughter at the neighbor's house maybe, and then she and the wife fall in love.
That sounds great.
Because like, I mean, it's ambiguous, I guess, whether or not
I wonder
Carrie
if he
Ellis
will.
survived within the scope of this film.
The daughter grows up to be gay.
But I mean, the daughter could grow up to be gay. But even if he survives, he still cheated on her. You know what I mean? Like, she maybe still wants to move on And maybe she wants it to be with the lady cop who discovered the pen light.
Okay, well,
Amanda could be gay. Mark, I feel like Mark, he's the one that has the safe code on the walls. I feel like he's
vibes.
got gay vibes.
I believe
maybe.
that. He was flaming.
Oh,
after
Adam
all.
has his little lube comment. Not that lube is gay, but
Oh, that was great.
and everybody
no,
hear my
everybody
joke?
Not
should
that
use
lube is
lube.
gay.
My joke, he
But
was flaming. Yeah.
yeah,
Thank
I
you.
loved it. Great joke, Monica.
Yeah, I got gay from Adam for sure. I got gay from both of them, I guess, a little bit because Carrie Ellis was.
Monica loves a gay Adam.
Yeah, I do. Because Carrie Ellis was wearing so much makeup throughout the film, so he looks so pristine and coiffed, in that way that is sometimes telling. But maybe he's just a man who likes to care about the way he looks.
Appreciates
Yeah,
put together appearance. He is a doctor. He has to be professional, etc. But also he's a surgeon, so when he's not scrubbing in, he gets to wear his fancy clothes.
But yeah, okay. Well, I think the gay affair is the great way to get that done. So I think we can move on to where would Matthew Lillard fit into this film, and I think he should be Adam. Like that would be good. Like as a swarmy photog guy, come on,
Photographer.
Yeah, he would kill.
His body is so long that I think it would be hard for him to be so sneaky as a photographer. You know what I mean?
Think he's a tree.
You can't hide behind things as well when you
Yeah,
look over the top of them.
But
I think that's true. And I think he would have a lot of fun with that role for sure, and would bring some really interesting, loud elements to it. I think he would have ad-libbed some really fun lines as well,
died of
he did
poison.
with Stu in
So much better.
I can't believe that.
He would have been
ideal.
really fun in that role
Zep.
for sure.
Yes, but I would want to see him more.
He could have been Zep.
But he would have, he could bring that unhinged energy. We know that.
Also, he could have been one of the dead bodies. Imagine Matthew Lillard in All the Wire,
Yeah.
Oh,
he wakes up for 5
gets the
seconds.
stomach cut open by Amanda.
He's the naked one covered in flammable oil, walking on glass.
Love that.
Hot,
Mark, yeah.
Literally.
I can see it.
I do love him as Adam, though. I think he would have done a lot of fun stuff as Adam.
They just couldn't afford him,
Too bad.
Yeah. They spent their whole budget on Princess Bride.
Well, and here's the thing, too. I think Matthew Lillard and Carrie Ellis, they're...
And Danny Glover.
I think they would have acted.
Yeah.
They would have done something interesting, for sure. I feel like Carrie Ellis. Oh, I know what he's been in, where he was a villain. He was in the Black Christmas remake, actually. So it's interesting that Black Christmas came up earlier. Wasn't he?
I don't
remember, but I don't think I am. I think I'm right, because I was I saw him be
a
villain in something.
But I also had a
recently.
really bad time watching that, so maybe I stopped paying attention. Oh, I didn't see that one. It
was the 2019 one, not the Mary Elizabeth Winstead one. Yeah, it's the one that's kind of a remake, but also very much its own separate movie.
Well, I
thing going
think
on.
It brings us to our dumb bitch. So,
anyway.
Who would you say is the dumb bitch of this movie? It can't be Jigsaw. He's a smart bitch.
He's a smart bitch. He's so smart. There's so many options.
Smart. Yeah. I'd like to stay on this same beat and give the nomination, or at least one nomination, to Adam, because he really did not have to go fist first into the shitty toilet bowl when the heart was on the toilet tank. It was on the tank.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, that's dumb bitch behavior. He got a poop hand for no reason.
Yeah.
He also immediately
no
lost his
reason.
key to save himself.
Well, I read something on IMDb trivia that must be information from one of the sequels. But it said basically that like the key was not supposed to be on his chest, it was supposed to be in his pocket, and that was maybe some of the outsourced materials when it comes to Jigsaw's plan. So the key was not supposed to be sucked down the drain, maybe, I think. So I don't know that was Adam's fault, but it doesn't help his case when he's up for a nomination. You know what I mean? Like,
didn't come up
was
with any
he
of the
fully
plans
underwater,
either.
kind of unconscious? Sure. Yeah, he didn't come up with any
he didn't try
tricks
to save
or anything
himself
like that. In the original script, and also I guess shooting script, they filmed these scenes and then they cut them. They were supposed to use their saws to like saw through a pipe, and then they could like whisper to each other through the pipe, instead of that scene where they turn the lights off and talk, where the camera just can't, like, doesn't have night vision or whatever. But I'll tell you that Adam is also the one who broke his saw when he was trying to saw his chains off. So, like, that's a weapon he could have used. Yeah, he couldn't have even cut off his foot if he wanted to and got desperate, because he didn't have that tool anymore. He broke it.
That's him. It's fine. It's fine.
Sorry,
if he deserves
Adam.
it, he deserves it. That brings us to our knives out of fives. So, what was the critical reception or whatever? The numbers, please.
The critics were pretty harsh on this movie.
Boo.
It is rotten on Rotten Tomatoes, but it's 50%. So that's like 50% thought it was good and 50% thought it was bad. Audiences, however, loved it because it has 84% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, which is like such a huge discrepancy. It also has 7.6 out of 10 on IMDb. It was nominated for a 2005 MTV Movie and TV Award for Best Frightened Performance from Cary Elwes. It was nominated for 2 2005 Teen Choice Awards for Choice Movie Thriller and Choice Movie Scream Scene for Lee Winnell. And it made like $130 million or something like that. So, like, this was a very small budget film that took off really immediately in theaters and was greenlit for a sequel like pretty fucking fast. So they could tell they had something interesting on their hands too. And I think part of that is like they were able to work within the limitations of their budget. You know what I mean? They proved that they can like spend their money wisely. And so that is always good when you're hoping for a sequel. But yeah, it was super popular right away. I think they did some really smart stuff with the marketing. I'm not sure if it was this first one or follow-up ones. I think it was the first one, but didn't they do like blood drives and stuff like that to promote the film also? Am I thinking I saw like a TikTok about this the other day, and I feel like I remember it being discussed on other episodes, but I do your own research on that one actually, because I could be bullshitting, but I think
well,
that
cool
was something.
they did do that. But yeah, who wants to go first on this one?
I'm gonna give this movie a 4 out of 5. It doesn't fully hold up because I know like the twist of this movie had me in a chokehold 20-something years ago, right? Like, it was incredible, magnificent. Who is she? She's like, what is it like? Hey, girl. What is it like?
No one's doing it like her.
You're raising the bar for everybody else. Like, what is that? Like, that is this movie. But like, the acting is so bad.
My God.
I just like it's sometimes hard to watch with the acting being so bad, and like you expect more from the babe Cary Elwes, you know?
Yeah.
But other than that,
I've seen him be very good in other things, but maybe it really was the accent that just held him back. He couldn't get around it. Devastating. Yeah, I think I might go a little lower than that, but in like an affectionate way. I think I'll give it like a 3.8 knives out of fives. Because I really was entertained and I enjoyed myself. I wasn't necessarily invested in any of the characters, and I wasn't like, I knew what kind of movie it was. So I was like, they might all die. I don't know. Some people might survive. I'm really not sure what's going to happen. And I kind of had the knowledge in my head that I was like, I think Jigsaw's thing is like karmic. So whether or not it is fair, I was like, there's like to some degree, I know there's a reason why people are here, have been selected for this. So I just wasn't like rooting for them so much as I was so curious to see how it was going to play out. But yeah, I mean, lots of it could have been handled better acting wise. I did think the direction was pretty interesting. I saw something on IMDb trivia that I didn't even really notice when I was rewatching it for myself. But something on IMDb trivia said that they filmed the two characters differently. Like when they filmed Carrie Elwes, they used like a more stable camera on a tripod kind of setup to show that he's like calm and in control, at least to some degree. And then they use like a Steadicam handheld to film Adam to show that he's like more like unsteady, action oriented, blah blah blah. So if they're doing stuff like that, that is interesting to me. I think the way that they worked within their budget really worked for them to create something special here. But I don't know that I'm willing to go higher. But 3.8 to me, that's like a very fond 3.8. I just think that's what the movie calls for.
That's
for
great.
Me.
That's a great score. I think I'm gonna give it a 3.9. I really, really enjoyed it though. I had a really good time. But it did stress me out real fucking bad. Cause just the monolith around it kind of like ruined my perception of it a little bit. Just a little bit. I still had a great time. But I wish I had seen it back in the day, but I probably would have just died if I had seen it back in the day because I again was a little weenie. But yeah, it was a wild fucking ride, so 3.9 from me. But yeah, that brings us to the end of the episode and into Chelsea's birthday pick. Drum roll. Have you decided?
Chelsea birthday week.
Never forget Chelsea's birthday.
Never forget Chelsea's birthday. And this movie was the perfect lead-in because we're doing Saw 2. This next movie, my birthday week pick, is I was looking around, I was taking suggestions for what we should do next. I'd heard about this one movie that I watched last night before I watched Saw. But the whole time I was watching it, I just kept thinking to myself, I wish I was watching Influencer, which is a Shudder original that I watched earlier over the summer and I really, really liked. And I mean, I'm so curious to talk about it with you guys. I'm so interested to talk about it with you guys. I don't know what you're going to think necessarily, but I think there are fun things to discuss for sure. And also there are some sexy people in it. So
yeah, I've seen the trailer
I think
for
it could
it.
be I think it could be a good
watched
time.
it the other day, so I'm excited to pull the trigger and celebrate your birthday.
We do like Chelsea's birthday.
We love her. We love her. Okay.
It is.
Okay,
it's
so
my
that's gonna
birthday.
be super fun. But that brings us to our age-old question. What's the poll question?
The poll question is, do you think about murdering people all the time? And the answer is yes, I'm secretly a serial killer, or no, I am just lazy.
I know that people are going to want to say on the record, yes, I'm a serial killer.
The
because
FBI is
I'll send that
tracking our
information
podcast at
straight
all
to the
times,
FBI
so
if I
don't
have
think
my
that'd
way.
be wise for the budding serial killer listening to our episodes.
We could ask them what they would want to see be gayer about the movie, whether they want to see Adam and Lauren's kiss or whether they want to see the wife have a romance with the lady cop, or whether they think Lawrence should have had a gay affair instead. Sure. Yeah.
That works for me. Or how would you prepare to die?
We
Yeah,
can also
which
ask
one would you rather die in?
which jigsaw trap.
Let's do that. Cut up by razor cords. Scary bear trap. Yeah. We'll put them all in there.
Razor
We'll put them all
wire.
in there. Yeah.
Reverse
Okay.
bear trap, etc.
You get to
Dentist
choose your
chair.
own death.
Burned to death because you burned people by faking sick too often. That is so unfair. I should be able to fake
I
sick
love
whenever I
faking
want.
sick.
So check us out on Spotify to check that
of
out.
life's
And also, why not give
treasures.
us a 5-star rating on Spotify while you're at it? I think everyone would feel good about that. Or a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Write something nice about, I don't know, Jigsaw doing something, thoughts about puppets in general. Should there be more puppets in horror? These are some things to ruminate on in our 5-star review.
There should always be
I
more
agree.
puppets in horror.
And why not follow us on social media? We're at spooky_Tuesday on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And we are at Spooky Tuesday Pod on Facebook and Tumblr, and at Spooky Tuesday on Letterboxd. And so I will say thank you so much for listening. See you next Tuesday.
That's spooky.
Can you hear me in there? Huh? I'm having a blast. This is the most fun I've had without lubricant.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Height, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Captain Tamara, and our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram at the_moon_omg.